Hey guys, today we're going to do something a little bit different. Today we're going to talk about negotiation and we're going to go without a script because, because I feel like I want to try and make some videos which are a little bit more spontaneous. But anyway, let's see how it goes. What can we say about negotiation? Negotiation is hard. That's the end of the video. No, but jokes aside, negotiation is hard. And if you're creative and you find yourself struggling with negotiating, there is a very simple explanation to that. And just like you spend 24 hours a day, 7 days a week trying to improve your skills as a designer, as an artist, the people that you negotiate with, they do the same thing. They try to improve their communication skills, their body language skills. They try and improve the way they talk and the things that they say to people, so to be able to get the most out of the deals that they close. Now, this is mainly due to the fact that creatives and people that we deal with, they're driven by different goals. The creatives on one side, they're goal oriented and they're more fascinated by the process and by the fact that, the work that we create get actually used by somebody and enjoyed by somebody. The people on the other side, they are more concerned about budget. They're more concerned about getting as much as possible from you for the money that they have available. Now, the one thing that you can do that can improve your chances at negotiating a better deal for yourself is taking time. If you take time to give an answer to your client and you don't just jump straight away into a deal, can give you the time to think and can give you the time to analyze the information that you got from your client to make a better decision. You see, one of the things that I've noticed with myself actually is that in the very beginning of my career, I would jump into projects without giving it too much thought, too much time to think. Does that make sense? And so the product of that is that I was not analyzing closely what it was that I was putting myself through. Now, over time, there are two things that has happened. One is that I became a little bit more wiser, hopefully. And the other one is that by growing up and by dealing with a lot of different clients, I've learned more or less what it is the value of the work that I can produce. And so I'm sort of like a little bit more able to understand whether or not an offer from a client is either a good offer or a bad offer. And I'm saying this because you might be at the very beginning of your career and you might feel a little bit frustrated about it. You need to remember that you have to give yourself time to grow into that person that is able to negotiate a little bit better. Another thing that it's very important to consider is that when a client says things like, no, you're too expensive, or no, we cannot afford it, those no's should never be considered as absolute no's. They should be an element of conversation. And so my recommendation in that case is to never deliver an offer just in written form. Always try to get on a phone, or nowadays it's even better, get on a video call and try to discuss an offer in person, because when a client says, no, we cannot afford it, or no, it's too expensive, you still have a chance to discuss the project. It shows the client that you care about it, right? Now, keeping that in mind, another thing that it's very important to do every time is to sort of like starting the negotiation from a higher anchor point. Meaning, if you're trying to get $1,000 for your services, it's better to make an offer of $1,200 because you can discount that $200 if you get into a conversation with a client. Clients like that, clients need to feel like they're winning something. And so by programming the discount into the offer, you will be a step ahead of them and you'll be able to make your client feel like they're getting a better deal out of you. The same thing goes with like job offers. If you're negotiating a job, you need to know that your employer will be probably offering you a job starting from a 20% less in their offer. And so if they're going to pay you 1,000 per month, you still have the possibility to ask them for 1,200. One thing that you have to bear in mind is that at a junior level, that rule it's not really like this, because the juniors are replaceable. If you're not going for that work, most likely they have already somebody else in the pipeline that is going to accept that. This is more of a discussion that is more relevant for rather senior staff, put it this way. Now, a little remark that I feel like it's necessary to make is that if you turn out to negotiate a project that turns out not to be a good deal for yourself, you still have the moral obligation to deliver on what it is that you have promised. Now, by doing this, you're gonna take responsibilities, and that responsibility is going to enable you to grow, to understand the mistake that you've done, and hopefully in the future it will help you making a better decision. To me, accepting responsibility was sort of like a milestone in my career, because one of the best jobs that I got came from a deal that I negotiated against my own interest. But by accepting the responsibility that I was the one that made the mistake not to negotiate a good deal for myself, I made that sort of a plinth from where I made all my next decisions from. And so if I was not happy because with my job I was not making enough money, I would try and do something on the side to make more money. And so I guess that process of acknowledging my own responsibility as being in charge of trying and get myself better deals made me a little bit better at negotiating and communicating with my clients. Now, of course, there are some exceptions. If the deal that you've struck is extremely bad, then of course you should be able to get out of it, but you need to have a conversation with the person that you have made the deal with to make them understand that you made a mistake, that you are going to try and deliver as much as possible on the project that you're supposed to work on, but then you need to either be able to renegotiate the deal or that you will have to leave it. An exercise that I found very useful for me is journaling. Every time that I made a mistake, I will write that mistake down, because then this process will solidify that idea into my brain. Another thing that I did with journaling was answering basic questions that my clients would ask me over and over. One of them, it's a classic question: why should I work with you? And so, one thing that I do with my own clients when they come to me for a business strategy consultation, we try and identify key questions that clients usually ask my clients. Because by doing that and by training, writing down what those questions are and writing down the answers to those questions, we train our brain to know how to respond when we find ourselves in one of those situations. I hope that makes sense. Anyway, there is a book recommendation that I can give you. It's called Never Split the Difference from Chris Voss. Chris is also doing the masterclass. It's relatively cheap for the value that you get. The only remark that I can make about this book is don't focus too much on the phrases that Chris discuss, but rather try to understand this idea of building rapport with the people that you're dealing with, because by building rapport, both you and the person that you're negotiating with, that will give you a chance to negotiate a little bit more and have a much more fulfilling conversation with the other party, so that you can really try and talk and understand whether or not you can get more out of that business relationship. And that's it. I really hope that you found some value in this little chat. I know that this is a little bit of a more different format. What I'm trying to do here is sort of like remove that heavy editing sort of components, because my focus with these videos is to communicate, is to share with you value. And I do feel like that with the editing and nice music and everything, that gets a little bit lost. Maybe it's just my impression, but I would be curious to hear your opinion. Do you like this format, or would you like me to put the music back? Once somebody told me that they watch my videos just because they love the music that I play in it, and I'm like, is that what you do when you watch one of my videos, so you listen to the music? What do you do when you watch my videos? Okay, I regret asking that question. Don't answer that question. Thanks a lot for watching. See you guys next time.